Right, I'm recording now. Hello everyone, another late night random. I'm joined by DCRU Colin and Fad Paulie. So let's start off. How's everyone doing? I'll tell you what, I'm not doing very well, considering that I spent the last hour and a half exporting a video that I did with Level Cap earlier on. I need to find that I'd exported it in 480, so I was like, fuck. Yeah. So now I'm re-exporting it with a 2-hour wait time.
Fuck that.
That's gross.
I can't render.
I was not impressed. I was not impressed at all because I was thinking this is great. I was like, I started exported earlier on, and it'll all be done, and I can just start uploading it. It'll be like ready to go for the morning. Now it's going to be going for another 2 hours. So whatever. Such a pain in the ass. I wish videos exported faster. You know, that's one thing I really wish.
Why do you call it exporting? I always call it rendering. I get. You're a Mac, are you?
Yeah, well, it's rendering, exporting. I guess I call it that because when I send it out, you go file export, and so it goes out like that. Same thing really there. But I think iMovie works differently to other ones because you can kind of do it faster. I think it doesn't render stuff live. Like I think if you're using Adobe ones or Sony Vegas or whatever, when you move a clip around and do stuff to it, I think it renders as you do it. So you have to wait. Is that right or not right?
I've no clue.
I don't know.
What do you use, Colin? What do you use for making vids?
Actually, I've used iMovie, I've used Final Cut Express, and I've used Adobe Premiere.
But I don't know. I could be totally wrong. But the way I kind of had heard it ages ago, but I say I'm probably wrong. But I just had it that iMovie works slightly differently to other ones because like you say with Adobe, I think you kind of move clips around and it kind of renders as you do them, and then when you export it doesn't do it, whereas iMovie it's all kind of like saved live or something, and then when you export it kind of renders it as it exports, so it takes it takes a longer time or something. I don't know, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, that could be true, and it, like you can drag an MP4 into iMovie and work on it right away. Final Cut you can't. It actually has to convert it over to Apple Intermediate Codec to work on it. And then that renders out a little bit quicker from Apple Intermediate Codec to MP4, like H.264, whatever you're doing. Whereas iMovie, for whatever reason, lets you hack and cut up an MP4. And it seems to take longer to render, but I think it comes down to, how powerful the machine is too. And iMovie takes a while.
I think the
Final Cut does as well.
I think the idea that they had is that they want it to be easy to cut and paste and actually edit with, and then so you don't have to wait in between for bits and pieces to work. And then when you get to the end, okay, it takes longer to export, but it's more user friendly to work with. I mean, I use it because for most of the kind of videos that you make to go on YouTube and stuff, really they're very simple. They're literally just video and audio over the top, and that's all you need. Unless you're making a really complicated montage or some kind of tactical thing, you don't need all those editing capabilities that those other programs have.
Nope, exactly.
I mean, it always makes me laugh when it makes me laugh. I mean, I don't know if you know, my job, I'm a graphic designer and illustrator, and it always makes me laugh when I see people and they're making signatures for forums and stuff, and they're going, I've got CS7 and blah blah blah, and it's just like you're making sort of 500 pixel wide flat graphics. It's like you don't need all the shit that comes with that program. You could be working on Adobe sort of CS and it would be totally fine. So it does make me laugh. And
I do most of my graphics using GIMP.
Yeah. I mean, for most of what people want, these things are totally fine. So
use something open source and free rather than try and keep up with the latest torrents and make sure that my application doesn't call home.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, it's all very well for private things as well, but you forget that even professional, I've worked for several agencies until I was in the job now, and most of them weren't running with up-to-date graphics programs because they can't obviously use the hacked off ones, and so they have to be buying the licenses, and they just don't have the money to be buying that amount of license every single year. And for the most part of what you want, any of those programs runs fine. I mean, Photoshop and Illustrator on these programs, their updates really in kind of real terms have been quite small from year to year. I mean, there's some like small little tool changes and stuff like that, and they've kind of sort of worked on how the integration works between different things like Bridge, and a lot of the upgrades have usually been to do with web stuff, because print stays pretty much the same. It tends to be that web things change, and so they kind of updates to kind of keep it up to date for that sort of stuff. But that's why I say for what most people actually want to do with the programs, they could be using one that's like 6 years old and it would do exactly the same thing. So it does make me laugh when people start. It's basically Photoshop e-peening, where people are just like, I've got the best one and I got it 4 months before you, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so how are you guys getting on with Battlefield at the moment? Have you got any? What's your flavour of the month at the moment? What are you thinking about?
Flavour of the month.
Well, I've just been kind of.
So I was going to say, Paulie, you're confused already, man. I meant like, are you excited for like Armored Kill? Are you talking about Aftermath, or are you still enjoying Close Quarters? That was my question. Anyway,
I had
Colin.
Colin
was talking before.
Oh
you.
yeah.
Go on.
I've kind of been enjoying Close Quarters. It's good to have it there for me. Like if I'm just hopping on for 20 minutes. Want to grab a couple of games and I don't have people to play with, and I don't want to take the time to find people to play with. Close Quarters for me has become quite fun. I used to play a lot, just go hop in deathmatch on Carg Island or Canals or something and just shoot people when I didn't have a lot of time on my hands. But Close Quarters offers a nice alternative when I don't want to get into a sort of a full-blown gaming session. But it gets like I can only play a few rounds and then I have to move on and do something else. And so I'm looking forward to Armored Kill. I'm looking forward to all the expansion packs. I think that they've put a lot of work into them. I think it's cool that they're themed, and I'm generally pretty easy to please. I think I've gotten pretty good value for my money out of the game so far. So,
yeah. I mean, it's funny that you're saying that, because that is almost literally what I said in my second to last video that I just made the other day, and I was talking about people having time in game and how these new DLCs are affecting that, and I was talking about Close Quarters, and I said exactly this, that a lot of the people that make YouTube's video now, like our kind of age group circle, a lot of these people have got a lot of you move on and you've got jobs, family, all these kinds of things, and it's all very well for people to kind of look at things like these DLCs and sort of whinge about them and say, they're not proper Battlefield, or they're trying to copy other games, but you forget that actually these things suit different people and they suit different lifestyles, and it's another good reason why they're changing things around and not just keeping it the same, not just doing the same maps, because for exactly the reason you say, that is why they're so good. Because okay, a game of Rush might only take 10 minutes or whatever, but it's like a different mindset. You have to kind of, you have to really clear your head and go, right, we're playing Rush or we're playing Conquest. You really have to think. Whereas with a Close Quarters map, with the best will in the world, you don't really have to think that much. You can just run around going pew 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 pew. So
absolutely. And I mean, you can kind of just go into a Close Quarters game, say, all right, this is my flag. I'm going to run between this flag and that flag. I'm going to kill everything I see, and you can have a good gameplay. Like it's fast paced, and people that say, go back to Call of Duty. Like, I don't like Call of Duty. I didn't come from Call of Duty. I haven't played a Call of Duty in years.
Well, I found myself only the other day thinking about like, I kind of really like that fast gameplay. Should I get back into it? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, actually, I remember all the catastrophic problems that made me not want to play the game, namely the developers sort of stonewalling that they gave with literally everything. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So, Paulie, go on. What are you on this one?
Well, like, I didn't buy any Battlefield DLC at all. Nothing, and I'm afraid if I ever tell anyone on my YouTube, they're gonna be like, "You fuck." Considering I posted massive amount of Battlefield.
Well, you're on the PS3 too, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I hate starting, the PC versus console conversation.
I'm quite happy with it as long as it's always constructive. And
simple.
I think, well, I have all, like I do have them all, I've got the PC, the Xbox, and the PS3. I'm concerned that people don't get as much value out of the whole experience on the console because of those limitations, because they have capped the player count at 24. Yep. And if they're going to make the biggest Battlefield map ever, and it's going to be
a waste of space.
24 players, like I don't know how that's going to play out. People have asked me, is it going to be worth getting Armored Kill for the Xbox, or is it going to be worth it on the PS3? And I don't know. I don't know.
I've said a lot of concern about this as well myself. I said, are they going to be able to make it work? I just don't know. I talked with Level about this earlier today, and we were joking. We were like, can you imagine having like a 3-flag map with the AC-130? And we were just like joking, you could take out like two bases just with the AC-130, just sort of get a massive sort of take out the entire team with one hit. I don't know. I mean, there was loads of people going, oh no, they've said that they're going to bump it up just for this, and I was just like, shut up, they're not going to do that.
True.
It's a load of crap. But I did hear one thing which I think is possible, which is they said, oh well, they might put a couple more tanks or something for the console. The idea being that, okay, you've got less people, but if we give them more armor,
more people and vehicles,
you'll get kind of more, and you can think, okay, you could kind of work it that way. But I mean, one thing they did say was they were like, don't worry, they said we're aware of this problem, we're going to tweak the map size because of it. And I just thought, well, hang on a minute, if you're going to tweak the map size, surely that kind of defeats the entire purpose of it in the first place. It's just like, okay, we're going to have the biggest map in the world, but not for you guys because there isn't enough of you. It's just like, it makes me think of like if you ever went paintballing and you didn't kind of have enough people to do the big thing at the end of the day, so they're just like, we'll put you on the small course, and it's like,
we'll just leave you there.
It sucks.
Yeah. But we'll give you more guns to make it seem like you're doing something.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems silly. But like you say, I mean, what I was going to say first of all was, at the end of the day, if you don't know any better, which a lot of people playing don't. Like, for example, I've played on PC before, but I haven't played Battlefield. I've played Battlefield on PC before, but not Battlefield 3. And it's just like, what was the good analogy I was thinking of? It's kind of like how, this is a kind of a bit of an overly deep analogy, but I think it kind of applies. Is like, how in life you always look around and sort of, you think like some days you'll think, I'm having a fucking really bullshit day today, I'm having a really hard day today, and then you look around, you see someone and you think, actually they're, someone maybe living on the street or something, you think, actually they're having a really hard day. It's that kind of analogy. It's kind of like, you only know what your own sort of limitations are. You go by your own benchmarks. So if you've never played on the PC, you don't have that to compare to. Therefore, in theory, you wouldn't really be disappointed because you're only going to have whatever experience you have. So I think people just basically enjoy what they play, and they get used to it. What they have. Yeah. I mean, for example, a really interesting point as well. Again, I had a big chat with Level this morning about loads of stuff. And one thing, he looked at my latest video that I posted, and we were talking about stuff, because I was talking about this new mouse I've got, and I've been trying to get used to it, and I said, I'll watch his gameplay and see whether you think there's any, sort of any advice or any sort of, pointers, or, what could we do differently here. And he was saying, like, when I was attacking the second base on Metro, he said, I'm really surprised how you're playing it, just like running forward. He was like, you couldn't play like that on PC. And he was like, why are you doing that? And then I said, well, I sort of said, I don't know. I said, that's kind of what you always do. And then we thought about it, and he was like, well, and I sort of said, well, the thing is, when you play on console, you can run forward like that, because often there isn't enough people covering an area. There, so you can really do that kind of throwing yourself forward, and I don't know, 5 times out of 10 you'll kind of make it through. But on a PC, that's just never going to happen. Not on Metro, because there's just so many people. It doesn't matter which way you go, you'll get cut to pieces. So your only option is to move forward carefully and take out the targets. However, that's going to take you a lot longer, and it's going to be a lot more kind of casualties and stuff like that. So it was interesting though that from what he perceived from a first point of me just playing without any thought, actually it wasn't that. It was just that I'm used to playing against a certain dynamic, and he was playing a different dynamic. And this is the point that I was trying to make to what Colin was saying, which is that, basically someone who plays on a console and someone who plays on a PC is going to have two completely separate thoughts about a dynamic. And so at the end of the day, whilst the two will be very different, and you can completely imagine that on a PC I can totally see that Armored Kill is going to be a lot bigger, a lot more exciting, and all the rest of it. But if you haven't experienced it, you can't miss it. So that would be my kind of perspective on it.
I'm just not looking forward to Armor. I'm not being mean. I'm just not looking forward to it because I always get shot in tanks in any vehicle, and I jump out like 5 seconds, and then I
jump
run.
out, do you? I hate that.
No, it's just because I'm a bitch, and I'm just like, oh fuck it, I'll just run, and like then I'm there 10 minutes into the map, and then the game's over. That's it.
I don't mind people jumping out of tanks and stuff because I know that I'll pick up kills elsewhere, or I will get a kill on a tank at some point.
Yeah.
Something that really bugs me recently is jets. And it really pisses me off that jets and aircraft in general, as soon as they take a hit to like 30%, they just bail. And I had a map on Oman, and I was in the jet. Now I'm not an expert pilot. Okay, I get some decent kills sometimes if I'm against a much better pilot. Like for example, like Raven is really, really, really good. Who else was it really good? One of my subscribers is really good. I play with him quite often, and yeah, someone like that, I've got no chance against. But I'm a kind of like mid-range pilot, and I can generally sort of hold my own against most players unless they're an exceptional pilot, So anyway, I was having this map on Oman, and I was doing pretty well. I was taking out a few helicopters, a few jets. We were like 75% through the game, and I looked at the scoreboard. I think I had like 1 kill, even though I'd taken out about 7 or 8 aircraft, and the skies were clear. I was keeping it dominated, but I got no kills, and I was like 3rd up from the bottom of the scoreboard, and I was like, this is bullshit. It really pisses me off. It really annoys me. So for the most part, unless I think there's a genuine tactical reason, if I'm in an aircraft, I will just stay in and let people get the kill. And people might say that's stupid, but that's just how I play. So,
man. I don't know. I just high five people with jets. For fun.
yeah.
And like if you're going down, might as well just hit something. It's just a good thing. Shit. I'm gonna click that.
So, but do you think the AC-130 is going to be more of a problem than a blessing, Colin, when it comes to people looking to get on board that?
I don't know.
You think you're going to see a Wake Island issue or whatever it is? What was it? 1943 and other ones like that. You can call in air raids, and you'd have like 7 people standing at the air raid shelter trying to get in so they could call it in. And meanwhile, the entire rest of the island's getting capped up. It's that kind of situation.
The biggest problem with any game is typically the players. So, yeah, I worry about that.
I mean, didn't they say that it's going to be one of the bases gives you access in the same way that, for example, I think the reason I said Wake it was because Wake is always, the airstrip is like the most vital thing on there. So it tends to be that everyone's fighting it there. Meanwhile, everywhere else on the map gets capped by like 2 players or something, Yeah. And I just worry that they might see that situation where they have like, let's say whatever it's called, radar station or something, and that's where you get access to the AC-130. You're going to see like 20 players there. Meanwhile, everyone else is kind of twiddling their thumbs. I worry about that.
Yeah, as do I. I mean, you used to see people all waiting around jet spawns and team killing each other with by jumping out of moving vehicles so it runs over their teammates so they could get the jets. Like,
Yeah, it's desperate. I think it's worse on console. I don't know. Like, I played Bad Company on PC, and that's so much fun, but I'm actually happy where I am on console. I don't want to go near PC on Battlefield 3 at the moment. Because I know as soon as I get on, I'm going to be called a loser. I'm going to be called a noob, and I'm just not going to do good. So I'm just going to work on my own for the moment.
Yeah, stick to what you know. But I mean, Colin, actually, something else that is kind of it's not something that I have to deal with, but I think it's kind of an interesting, probably quite relevant topic. Is the whole privacy on Battlelog thing? I mean, is that something that you think needs to happen and should have happened already? I mean, I don't like to laugh, but it did make me laugh a little bit that Level the other day, we can't do his helicopter series anymore because people like parking tanks on the helicopter spawn so they couldn't get their heli, and that kind of abuse is just really, really bad. And they should take note of it. They should do something about it. What do you think about that?
I couldn't agree more. I've actually changed my name, and as has Level Cap. We both gave up our previous Battlelog IDs. So somebody actually grabbed Level Caps already. Somebody's grabbed my DCRU Colin ID. The guy who grabbed mine is a PS3 player though, so he's not out there trolling people on the PC. And somebody else, I was in a game with Level Cap, although I knew, or with Level Cap's old ID, but I knew damn well he had changed his name. And the person was talking to me, "Oh, did you join me off BF3 Stalker? Blah blah blah." I'm like, no,
What's BF3 Stalker?
It's a website that polls Battlelog, and they have a great big long list of YouTubers, DICE developers, that sort of thing. So you can go to that one website and see if anyone, quote unquote, famous, faux famous, or whatever you want to call it, is online. So you can join them and play with them. Some people come in to play good games. A lot of people come in to try and hunt for dog tags and teabag and talk smack and that sort of thing. And especially the people that are so blatant as to run, there's hacks that you can install on the PC that allow you to just kill the entire other team. So as soon as they spawn, they drop dead. We've had a few of those guys that follow us around server to server to server. So we eventually have to kind of lure him into a server where we know the admins or one of us is an admin or something like that and ban them. It's...
That's a lot of hassle.
Since I changed my name, I haven't had too many problems, but it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Before that, it was gross.
I mean, that is the issue with it, and it's kind of nice that you don't have any of that issue with console at all, because it's obviously quite separate from it. But there's issues with other things, like the whole private server thing, which pisses me off. Which is like, if you set up a private server, even if you password protect it. Basically, if I password protect a private server, like my own server, because I want to record stuff or whatever, then no one can join it, okay? They can't just join it unless they have the password. But if they're on my PSN list, like Paulie, for example, if I was in a map, you can just literally click my name and go join. And it will put you immediately in, and you won't have to enter the password, even if it is already set up with a password, because you're on my PSN list. And then anyone on your PSN list could then join you in the same way, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So it's a big hole, and it kind of pisses me off a little bit. And I've had some real issues with it. I was doing one of my my Rush Routes videos, and I was halfway through recording it. I was live commenting it because I was talking about what I was doing, and I had within the space of like 5 minutes about 4 people join and leave, and they were dicking around, and it was just like, it was really annoying me. They thought I was in a game. They didn't know, even though I had labelled clearly that I was recording and stuff. But it's these kind of things that really, really should be ironed out and stuff. And it surprises me that they haven't been. But I think the Battlelog privacy thing is much more important.
A bigger priority.
I say it's not something that affects me, but I can see how annoying it is, and therefore for that reason I think that it really should be fixed up as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm actually writing a little song about that. It's going to be my feature request to DICE. Put in song, so hopefully they pay attention. But to have the ability to just say, I don't exist, you can't see me right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you randomly wind up on my server, you randomly wind up on my server, that's fine. But for people to just be able to search, don't have to be on the friends list. Anyone can search for any player on Battlelog and at any given time see what server they're playing on. So, you could be somebody that I'm intentionally going out of my way to try and avoid. I've blocked you or deleted you off my friends list, whatever. You can search my name and join my games. So,
that's it.
What you gonna do? Like, if it gets too bad, I mean, I just go do something else. I stop playing.
Like, do they not? I'm just wondering, do they not kind of predict that? As in, say if you were in a game and you and a guy got into a bit of a heated debate or fight, and then you're like, all right, I'm leaving, and you're done. Do you not think that person might just try to follow you just to annoy you? Like, did they not expect something? You know what I mean?
So I think that DICE does a fantastic job at a lot of things. What they don't do is put themselves in the mind of obnoxious douchebags that play their games to say, what would the most obnoxious shithead do with this feature?
Yeah.
You know, whether it's mortars, whatever it is, like they've put a number of things in the game that people just abuse the crap out of. And Battlelog Privacy, that's one of those things.
I think like Ty Kelly said to me before, when I've been doing stuff, some of my videos with him, and I talked to him about, I sort of mentioned the whole USAS thing. So this was ages ago. But we talked a little bit about that, and he's been involved with game development and all these kind of things. And I sort of said, do you think it's a fair thing for people to say, how could they not have predicted this? And he said, well, it's a very, very difficult thing to do, because when you put something in place, you are never sure, exactly how things are going to go down. And when you think about permutation, I mean, in-game dynamics is slightly different to the Battlelog thing. I think the Battlelog thing is actually kind of a simple and quite obvious thing that should have been done. But when it comes to the bigger sort of issue of, game dynamics and, specifically attachment dynamics and, ammo and stuff like this, a lot of these things, they're never sure exactly how it's going to go down. And, the possibilities of, all the different ways you can change stuff out, it is kind of actually too much really to realistically test to the end of the earth. And, like I've said before, people complain about, what was it people complaining about recently? Not the M26, something else. But stuff like, for example, the ACW, when that came into the game and people were like, it's got no recoil, it's so overpowered. And it's like, if until my sort of benchmark is until I see more than half of an entire team using the same weapon and really dominating with it, that's the kind of level where I sit. And I don't mean either one round, I mean like regular rounds, and it's like everyone using it. That's the kind of benchmark I would use for saying, okay, this gun is a bit overpowered and it probably needs to be toned back a little bit. Like, for example, USAS Frag. How many times do you see people using that now, really? I see
Not
like
at all.
one person a week or something.
Because it's useless.
But, I mean, so that is my kind of good example for that. I'm not a big fan of things being nerfed and buffed. I'm not a big fan of it. But I think when something is a massive epidemic, okay, like for example, the InvScope, okay, the night vision scope for things. I genuinely never saw what the big issue with that is. I really didn't. I mean, when it came out and everyone was complaining about it, it's like, what? Okay, it's a site that kind of allows you to sort of see your targets a bit better in certain situations as well. Only night maps, which is like what? Metro, Tehran. and what else? What other night maps is there? Is there any even? I don't think so. Is there?
Well, so what I will say, I never played with the night vision scope on the consoles. I played with it on the PC, and in broad daylight, you could use your night vision scope to look into the sun. It would cut out the sun, and you could see the targets that you wouldn't have been able to see in the sunlight.
Yeah.
It was broken. Like it lit everything up, like all your targets up, bright as can be, regardless of the lighting situation outside. Now the night vision scope is useful in appropriate situations. Like it doesn't work in broad daylight. It doesn't work if there's a lot of haze and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it works in the dark, which is fine.
But I think someone showed a good example. I think it was actually Level showed this. Was they did like a little? Oh, and it was the other day when he was doing his optics stuff. Did you see that one?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Look for it. It's really good. He does like a full review of every optic and basically, is it good or not against its sort of comparison. And he looks at the InvScope, and if you look at that, it's stupid. It's really stupid. It's literally like if someone is about, I don't know, 10 meters away from you, you can't see them with the InvScope. It's ridiculous. You can only see them when they get within almost kind of, until
almost
on top
point
of you.
blank range.
Yeah. Look it up. It's really, really stupid. So I think, if it did what you say, where you can't use it in daylight, but it has a decent range on it, that would be totally acceptable in my opinion. I mean, it does what it says on the tin. It's not going to be useful in all situations. But, a map like Tehran, it would be really, really useful. So I think that things like that. So this is what I get. This is the kind of point I was making, is that sometimes when people complain too much, they go too far with it. And, they go from taking something that was kind of too good to being literally unusable, which is just too much. It doesn't need that sort of heavy approach.
When they first, I don't know if they've gone through iterations of nerfing that infrared scope and then then buffing it back up. When the game first came out, prior to the very first patch, it was way too good. Like, you could see snipers, the very tip of a sniper's head at hundreds of meters away with this thing. And then they made it totally useless. I stopped playing with it. Like, you could be down in the tunnel of Damavan Peak, attacking on rush, using the night vision scope. Enemy standing 20 meters in front of you, you couldn't see squat through the scope.
Yeah, but
it was useless.
Do you know what else is really stupid? The sniper night vision scope has no magnification. It's literally like a normal scope, but just with a sniper crosshair on. Literally, look it up. Go in game and look it up. It's like a normal like red dot sight scope or 3.4, but just with a sniper crosshair on. It's ridiculous. It's the stupidest thing ever. It's like you couldn't see anyone that was further than sort of 15 meters away. It's terrible. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, look that up as well. It's kind of funny.
So now, but now you have the M16 as everyone's thing to complain about now. So
I mean, it's because I'm on
something.
Yeah, they got. I mean, my favorite analogy for this kind of talk is when I played World of Warcraft. It's a good analogy, and you know, in WoW you had like 6 classes for everyone, okay, and basically all the classes would always whinge that certain people were too powerful. It'd be like, oh, warlocks, their buffs are too powerful, blah blah blah. It's like, oh, warriors, they've got too strong a stat for this. It's like rogues, their crits are too high, blah blah blah. And basically, whenever a patch would come around, which was basically every month, I think, people would just complain on the forums about whatever they buffed up in the last one. So it'd be like, you know, rogues or whatever, they'd be like, nah, they've buffed this too hard, and then they'd reset that one and they buff up, and it just kind of never ended. It was like this for the whole time they played the game, which was like 4 years. It was just this endless cycle of buffing and nerfing. Yeah. And they just never stopped. It was just ridiculous. It was totally stupid. And it does get a little bit like that. People just whinge so much, and you can understand why developers end up just blanking, going, do you know what, we don't want to listen to this anymore. And I could mention some videos about that, but I think people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is why I was laughing to myself, and I was like, I can't say anything.
No. But anyway.
David Vonderhaar did that there recently. He put on his forums, the PS3 people aren't really happy with like Call of Duty on the PlayStation, and everyone just flamed him out of it, and he flipped out. And like he actually retaliated.
Talking back to Call of Duty, I'll say what I was going to say earlier. This is the thing, is like the stupid thing as well is people can't take criticism nowadays. Like, they can't. If you're making a sensible criticism, people can't take it. They're just like, oh, you're offending my thing, and they just throw all their toys out the pram. And it's like, seriously, with COD, I loved COD. I played COD 4 solidly from when it came out for well over a year. I didn't even have a clan at the time. I just played on my own, and I just played on my own every night. Just played through it. It was a really, really good game. And then was it Modern Warfare after that, or was it World at War? It was World at War. There was the next one. It was ages ago now. That was balls. I hated that game so much.
Don't you talk shit about it.
I know a lot of people love
that game.
Yeah, everyone loved it. I really couldn't get on with it. For the moment I got it right, I was like, the guns had no weight. I was like, it feels like I'm holding cardboard. I don't know. It was really weird. Like, I didn't like it. And it wasn't a thing about against Treyarch. I just really didn't like the feel of the game. Everything felt like light to me, like it had no weight. I think it was the way they designed the animation a little bit, and it just felt too flimsy. Like everything was really thin, and when you fired the guns, it was like, you know, it just like didn't have anything to it. So for that reason, I kind of didn't get on with it. But then we went Modern Warfare. But the point I was making is that I've been through all of them, and for the most part, I had a really good time. It was like World at War. Okay, I kind of didn't get on with it as well, but I still played it, and I still sort of had a good time, I guess, at the end of the day. But the point was, and then we got to Black Ops, and Black Ops was the real key game to where I said, I'm never playing this game anymore. And it wasn't. And it wasn't.
You and me both.
Yeah, but it wasn't really because of the game. I loved the game. I really enjoyed it. And unusually for me, because like, you know, I'm not really a big fan of stats and all that bollocks, and similarly I'm not a big fan of prestige. I just never got it. I never got it. I know some people are like, it keeps the game fresh. I can kind of understand that, but not for me. And you know, the whole thing of getting to the top really never appealed to me before, because I was just like literally whatever. But with Black Ops, it was so easy to rank up. I was like, I'm already at the top in like a few days, so I may as well keep going. So I actually prestige for the first time, and I went through multiple prestiges. So it was, you know, I was enjoying the game. I really liked it. I liked the weight of the weapons. I liked the dynamic. I liked the maps. The maps they designed were good. They because the World at War maps were too big. That was one of my main issues with the game. They were too big for the amount of players. I mean, 6 aside on some of those maps was ridiculous. You could just literally run end to end and not see anyone. So Black Ops, I thought it really got it right. And I loved the feel of the game. I loved the dynamic. So basically, I got on really well with the game. The problem was that, what was it? It was such a long time ago. The problem was that you couldn't get in a game. It was like you couldn't join your friends. They'd get kicked out. The game would crash. It would just go on and on. And you know, you would basically... Did you play it, Colin, on a console, or...?
I did, a little bit, yeah.
Did you play PS, or was it
Xbox, yeah.
Like, I don't know if they had the same issue.
Yeah, I think there were similar issues on the Xbox. You couldn't...
issues.
It was it was tough getting a party into the game, I think.
Yeah, and for literally that reason, that was it. It was that you couldn't get a group, and it was ridiculous, and it was it pretty much made the game unplayable, because you literally couldn't do anything, and even when you did, the bloody maps would crash out or whatever, and you get kicked out after being 2 minutes in the game. This didn't last for like a couple of weeks. It was about 3 months, and and then to rub salt into the wound, they would not acknowledge. They would not acknowledge it was a problem. Their their effing forum was crashing on a daily basis because so many people were complaining about it. Their forum was offline for half a day every day because there was literally so many people complaining. You were getting like a new thread every 10 seconds. People saying, this game's broken, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. They wouldn't even, for a month, they wouldn't even acknowledge that it was an issue. What the F is that? Seriously. At that point, I just said, this game is screwed. I don't want to play it anymore. And I just gave up. I didn't play. I went back occasionally to play with my clan a little bit after they'd fixed it. You know, I got on every now and then, and we had some fun nights and stuff like that. But I never really played it again, and I just stuck with Bad Company 2 after that. And but that was the point where I said, these guys do not have any respect for their player base, and that, you know, even if they said, we know this is a big problem, we're desperately trying to fix it, but, you know, bear with us. No, nothing. And like I said, you know, for a week or two, you can go, okay, maybe they're just, you know, they're trying to get on with it and they think they don't have to actually say anything. No, it was months, and they didn't sort of say anything. And that is the worst thing of all. So when people say at the moment, they go, oh, DICE are crap at dealing with their community. Bullshit, okay? They're really, really good. Compared to so many other developers, they are brilliant. And, you know, no matter how sarcastic the comment you might get back from people on Twitter or whatever, at least they're actually bloody replying. So that's my that's my perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, things have changed with DICE. Now it is a marketing firm or some sort of like a help desk or whatever you want to call it, answering the Battlefield Twitter, where it actually used to be the community managers. So that has changed since Bad Company 2. But that being said, like, I've had the opportunity to talk to a bunch of the guys from DICE. I know that they care what the player base thinks.
Yeah, of course they do.
They care a great deal about the community. They have so much passion for the game that they're working on. And one of the reasons that I just wasn't happy anymore on Don't Revive Me, Bro, and I mean, Chris and I are kind of walking away from that, but you know, one of the things was having the guys on to talk about Battlefield 3. I find that the community's grown a lot since Bad Company 2, but just a lot more malicious, just snarly sons of bitches who feel that they're entitled to a bunch of stuff.
You know, at one moment they're spoiled with good things, and then
so I mean, there's from them. Yeah, exactly. Now, you know, I've had the chance to talk to Demise 99, Alan Kurtz, and you know, we had a great conversation. I got a lot of heat for that interview with him because I didn't ask him the tough questions. And I'm like, listen, first of all, to have these guys on when they're constantly under NDA as to what they're working on next, constantly. And I've worked in that environment, and I appreciate the situation they're in. Second of all, I'm not going to go in there and tell him that he sucks at his job and tell him how to do his job. You know, I'm professional. I'm a professional engineer. If somebody who knew nothing about engineering or working in the engineering field got in my face and started yapping at me about how I should be doing my job, that conversation wouldn't last very long. And I would never be inclined to speak to that person again, you know?
Well, yeah, exactly.
I respect those guys. I respect what they do. And the other thing that they have to think about is that they don't want to go and decimate their game based on the people that are complaining, because it tends to be those with a chip on their shoulder that are going to take the time to go to forums and bitch and complain. They have to look at the data. They have a ton of data that's available. And, you know, you get on just about every video that's close quarters. This is bullshit. This isn't Battlefield. This is not what the players want in close quarters. Like, well, that's kind of not true, because, you know, this game sold 15,000 copies. Battlefield players are now the people that have purchased and bought this game. And Metro 24/7 servers are constantly running. You know, whether it's Grand Bazaar, Metro, people like that close infantry combat. So, you know, the folks that have been playing it since 1942, Battlefield 1942, not playing the game since 1942, of course, but you know, they don't think that there's been a real Battlefield game since like Battlefield 2, for example.
Yeah.
However, you know, if new blood didn't come into the franchise, there wouldn't be a Battlefield 3. You know, like it would just be a shrinking group of people that, you know, played Battlefield 1942. Then some of them played Battlefield 2. Like it would just die off. You know, they have to look at the data. They have to look at what's successful, what's not successful. They're trying to appease the fan base. If anything, you know, Armored Kill is probably them sort of extending the olive branch to the old Battlefield veterans that don't like close quarters. Whereas in reality, you know, a lot of people like that frantic, chaotic action. I don't know, like, but ultimately they can't just go to the forums, the EA UK Battlefield forums, and take everything that's suggested there, because that is such a small minority of the overall player base. Very much the same as people that take the time to go watch YouTube videos are a small minority of the player base of any given video game.
Yeah.
So
I'll let Paulie come in here because he hadn't had a chance to say much. Go on, Paulie.
Sorry, buddy.
What did I do?
No, I was just saying what you probably want to have something to say. Go on.
Oh no, I was photoshopping. I was just like, yep. I don't know. I just think, to be honest, kids are brats, and people don't have any respect for anyone nowadays. And I know it sounds very harsh, but like, if I do something for someone, it's never really the good I do for someone. There wouldn't be, as Colin said, a game without these people, so it wouldn't be here. And yet they harp on about every single little problem that they're going to fix. They know it's there. You tell them, they know it's there. Chill out. That's all you need to know. You don't need to make a video. You don't need to show it their face. You don't need to spam their Twitter. They know it's there. You tell them once, they'll see it. That's grand. I just think people get spoiled. People are spoon-fed with good games now, good graphics. If you do one thing wrong, it's like, oh, sorry, you get on top of a building in a map that we did not intend. Now we're dickheads. You know, that, like, people are spoiled, and I just play the game for fun. If I die, I fucking die. I'm not, like, if someone's glitching, they're glitching. I turn off the game. That's it. People are spoiled little brats nowadays. So.
I think it is interesting as well. It's something that, I don't know what you guys think about this, but something that I've thought a lot about lately is when I look back at how games used to be, and I desperately try not to sound really old and be like, when I was 10 I used to play these games and so on. But you know, but seriously, I remember you know, going and you know, when I was going to buy a game or whatever, which was very, very infrequently because I didn't have tons of money when I was small, but you know, we'd go to like the local video shop and you know, we'd go to look for some, you know, Sega Mega Drive games. I don't think we even bought them actually originally, because it was really unusual. We bought a game, we used to rent the games. Yep. So we'd rent like a Mega Drive game from the video shop, and you know, there was no internet. didn't exist. And there was didn't used to buy magazines then either, so you literally would have to go by the box. You'd have to look at the box and go, yeah, the game looks kind of okay, and you try it out. And I think that more and more this whole thing of like previewing stuff, it's like an epidemic with everything now. I mean, you think how far in advance films and products and everything, it all gets previewed and broken down. And actually, Colin, did you see the Olympic ceremony this year?
No, I didn't. I was busy doing other things.
Paulie, did you see that?
No, I was getting on with my life.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Sorry.
Well, anyway, I actually thought it was really good, which is unusual because I'm ultra cynical about this kind of stuff, and I still think it's way over commercialized, but I actually thought that it was pretty good, and I thought it pretty much represented the UK. But the thing that I thought was good was that they pretty much managed to not let anything out about it, which is unusual for such a big event like this. They really managed to keep a lot of the details and all the other elements about it. And when you consider how many people were involved, that's a pretty big feat to achieve, that people didn't leak it to some horrible tabloid paper or whatever. But it did sort of highlight another point for me that I thought about a lot, which is that, as I say, things get previewed too much. And I think when you see something without having really had too much of a preview of it, like a trailer or whatever, it kind of, I mean, I don't mind teaser trailers. I think those are good because they really they whet your appetite. You kind of see it and go, wow, this looks this looks really cool, and what the hell was that about? You sort of it gets your mind working, and you start thinking, oh, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. When they start releasing tons of details and stuff, and also, okay, for example, like the details about Aftermath that have come out, that's perfect. It literally just says, okay, we're going to give you some extra maps and blah blah blah, and they didn't give you any more detail than that. They give you maybe like one screenshot. That's really good because, and then literally, a week or two before, they'll release a bit of a trailer. But I don't like the way people are kind of baiting for sort of information all the time, like, gotta find out. And it's like, seriously, just, God, get over it. You don't need to know. And I swear it spoils
What you need is other things going on in your life
that's true, isn't it?
that take away your focus from what's coming out in the new DLC.
Well, I don't know about you as well, but like films, I often see film trailers, and I don't know about you, I'm pretty sure I've spoken to many people who agree, which is that often when a film trailer comes out now, you watch the trailer and go, wow, I don't need to see the movie now.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, unless it's you kind of know it's a good director, it's a good cast, or you have some kind of information that leads you to believe it's going to be a really good movie. The trailer's usually made up of the 5 funny moments or whatever that are in the entire film anyway. So, yeah. I went to see that movie Ted, which is, I don't know if you've seen anything about that.
Is it good? Nope. Is it worth it going insane?
I knew it.
It looked kind of crass and American.
If you're a Family Guy fan, then you'll enjoy the movie.
I like American Dad. I'm not massive on Family Guy.
Okay, I think it's probably more Family Guy-ish than American Dad as far as the humor, but a lot of the good stuff was in the trailer.
Oh, really? Well, that's kind of depressing.
Yeah, I mean, there was constantly moments where you're laughing at what they're saying, but like the whole storyline, anyway, it was just, I don't know, it's kind of ridiculous,
a bit contrived.
But, yeah, but I mean, you knew it was going to be. It's a talking teddy bear, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, there's weird things like I'll say I don't like Spider-Man or any of that bullshit. I've never got it, and I've sorry,
rage.
I've watched them, and I watched like the first one or whatever, and I was just like, what's this? I don't know. I just don't get on with it. I've never a big fan of these clean cut superheroes. They kind of piss me off. It's like I like Judge Dredd, Watchmen, and Batman, but all these other guys who are like squeaky clean, they just piss me off. It's like, what's the matter with you? You go and slap them. Don't just don't just. Oh, they annoy the hell out of me.
I'm going to give you the warning now, too. I hear the footsteps upstairs, so I'm going to have to bail here pretty soon.
Okay, right. No worries. Yeah, just say whenever you need to go, just jump in and jump off. Jump in, jump off. Yeah, it's all good. But what I didn't get was they made that new one recently, right? And from what I understood, it was the same film again, only like a couple of years later. What's that about? Like, why did they do that? I don't understand.
The movie industry is going on the same path as the Call of Duty industry. We're just gonna redo it every year.
There's so many brilliant. I don't get it either, because there's so many fantastic novels and other things out there. I think it's literally a case of just they're scared. They don't want to take risks. That's what it is, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah, you find a formula that works, and then you thrash it to death until it doesn't work.
Bleed it dry.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is so irritating.
Do you know The Hobbit? The Hobbit is now. I loved Lord of the Rings, read the books, watched movies. Very nerdy. Fucking love it. I don't care. Shut up. The Hobbit is now 3 movies long.
Yeah, what the hell? It's like it was one book. It wasn't like the book was nowhere near the length.
Why couldn't they do that for the main movies? Like, make them a little bit longer, like maybe into 5 movies. But now the Hobbit, how could you? That doesn't make sense.
Have you noticed as well how movies now tend to? They're never like the sequel is never 2 or 3. It's always like it has to have some name, so that it kind of deceives people into thinking it's not just a sequel. It's like the next part. It's like the next chapter. That's another word they love, isn't it? Chapter in the series.
Yeah, right.
It makes it feel like you're kind of having a progression and like a thing, rather than just literally tacking a number on the end. Think about like when we used to watch films in the 90s. It was always such and such 2, such and such 3. But you don't get that so much anymore. It's always like a name, so it kind of it's or an abbreviation of something. But did you guys see Prometheus at all?
No. I wanted to see it, didn't see it.
I saw it in the IMAX. Oh my god, in the IMAX it was epic. Really, really good. In London as well, it's like the biggest screen in the UK. It was really worth seeing. Went on my own on like a Monday afternoon. It was just like everyone else was working or busy, and all the evening slots were booked solid for like the whole week from when it was on from like months before or something. So I was like, crap. I was like, I really want to go, and I really want to see it at the IMAX. I don't want to see it some piss poor normal cinema, because it just won't have the same impact. And my friends were like, we can go to a normal cinema. I said, no, screw that. I said, I'll go by myself. So I just booked myself in for a Monday afternoon. It was brilliant. It was, you know how big an IMAX cinema is. They're massive. Yep. It was like half empty, and I was like, this is great. And I just sat there on my own and watched the whole thing, and it was bloody good. Seriously, I loved it.
I haven't been in one in a while. Did you ever see? Is IMAX? Is it a curved screen around you? Okay.
It's not all the way around. I mean, it's like
no.
It's kind of in front, but yeah, it is curved.
Yeah. I think when way back in the day, they used to call that the Omnimax. IMAX was just a huge screen. Omnimax went around, but I heard that they had changed it. So
you can actually. My friend, my friend I went out with a while ago said about this. She said that there's a screen somewhere else in London, and it's not like an IMAX screen, but it's like long. It's like really wide. I think she said it's like the O2 or something, and it's like really long, and it's like a bigger screen but in a different dimension. And she said she actually found it better because you're kind of seated further away, whereas the IMAX, sometimes it's so big you don't quite know where to look, and you're sort of looking left to right. You can't take in the whole picture. But she said this has got like a bigger screen, but you can see all of it. So I don't know. I might have to go check that.
It's probably iSense, because in Ireland we don't have IMAX, but we have iSense because our cinemas are owned by a British company called Odeon.
Yeah, so, Odeon, yeah.
Yeah, so we have iSense. I don't understand. I went to see Batman in it, loved it, over the moon. Great big.
All right, gents, I'm gonna have to bounce.
Yeah, so. No worries, mate. All right, well, have a good one. Thanks for participating, and maybe we'll do another one soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, man. Talk to you later.
All right, we'll do. Cheers. What was I thinking?
Shit. I was going to see if I could get praise off Colin because it's my birthday. Fuck.
Oh, wait, what was I thinking about? Yeah, but with like the IMAX and stuff, I never, I won't just go and see anything, because
it has to be something special.
Yeah, it has to be worth it. So far, I think I saw Tron, which was really, really good. Seeing that in the IMAX was epic. And I think something else, but I don't know if I can remember what it was. I'm pissed off now because I can't remember. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, it has to be something really, really worth it. And Prometheus was worth it. Like, even as
you said that. Prometheus,
yeah,
I don't know.
Just as a technical exercise. That's the thing. Often some people go wanting to go to a cinema and they want to be able to see, like, you know, they want like a great film or blah, blah, blah. I'm happy to go and see a film purely just on graphics. Like, so, because as a visual sort of person, I don't give a F about the story. I'm quite happy to go and just look at it and go, wow, this is really pretty, you know? So it's that kind of thing. I'm quite happy to sort of watch a film on different merits, you know? It's not always about the story. Sometimes you want to be sort of awed by just the technical ability of the film, you know?
Yeah, I guess that was kind of with me and Avatar. Everyone was like, Avatar is great, oh, it's amazing. And I went to see it in 3D and I fell asleep. It was so fucking shit. I hate that movie with a passion.
Often
I can't watch it.
I'm not like big for sort of you know, shirking the crowd. Like, I don't try to be all pretentious and be like, oh, I want to be different to everyone else. It's not that. It's just that it gets under my skin when everyone's going, this is great, you must see it. Because I just have a natural thing where the more people tell me I've got to do something, I instinctively therefore want to do it less, which is why a lot of advertising doesn't tend to work on me so well, because when it's being rammed in your face that you definitely need something, in my mind I'm just going, I don't need that. So yeah, when everyone is telling me that it's the best thing they've ever seen, I instinctively think therefore it must not be, and I don't particularly want to see it.
Well, like, I am. What was it called? You were saying something there fucking earlier, which was, I don't fucking remember. Oh man, my mind was. I think it was when people tell you. No. Oh yeah, it was like if previews.
Oh, yeah,
That's what it was. I was drifting in now because of Photoshop. Previews. I went to see the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And everyone said it was shit. It was horrible. Don't go to see it. And I was like, well, I've seen the trailer and completely forgot about it. And I was like, I'm not listening to these. These are all telling me it's shit. Not looking at any reviews. And I went in with low expectations just because I was like, here, I don't care. I just want to watch it. And I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. So, you know, like if I go in with just my own intention, not like someone else told me it's shit or bad or this, that and the other, then I'll enjoy it, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, but I mean, with that new Batman film, which I haven't seen, but there was so loads of there was people doing, you know, there was film critics rather doing reviews about it, and they were giving it negative reviews
just to get noticed. I think
people, but then people like hate bombing them, and it's like, what the hell? Like, you know, if you can't have a bloody opinion on something without everyone spamming you with shit, you know, it's like, what the hell, you know? It's their bloody opinion. You don't have to like their opinion, for Christ's sake. That's the whole point of having an opinion, is it's your opinion. You don't have to agree with other people's opinion. That's the whole point. So it's pretty, you know, that's why you have a critic. So you sort of say, you either, you know, you respect their opinion or not. Like if Mark Commode says this is a really good film, I'll go, yeah, you're probably right because you're Mark Commode. But if like some other person says, you know, this is blah blah blah, I'll just say, well, you know, you work for bloody you know, Daily Mirror, therefore I probably won't, you know, listen to your opinion. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, but like I just don't, to be honest, I hate when everyone's like, this is shit. I'd rather review something off of my own like on what I personally feel. Is everyone said Kane Lynch, the game, was horrible. I love it. It's one of my favorite games. It's glitchy as hell, but I fucking love it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. You've got to have, you know, you've got to just love things for what they are. And, you know, different people enjoy different things. I'm trying to think of a good game example right now.
Well, I would say Battlefield 3.
I'm just trying to think.
I'm trying to be mean to people when everyone said it was great. Alright, I have to chat away. Well, everyone said Battlefield 3 was great to me. Pick it up. Because I love Bad Company 2. Then you pick up Battlefield 3, you play it for 2-3 weeks straight, and then you realise it's not as good as Bad Company 2 because it's not fun. True story. Yes, I love Putin's face. I'm going to say some things before he gets back. He actually might be listening. Damn it.
I am. I've got my headphones on. No, I can't think of a really good example. But I know that some games as well, like think of a game that's had so much praise that people almost kind of daren't say anything against it and stuff like this. But I mean,
Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's stuff like
I don't get into them.
When something has so much weight.
It's too big.
But Skyrim as well. Skyrim is it's really awesome. It's a great game. It's totally immersive and really, really good. But I had a weird thing with it. I've tried desperately to play it a bit more. But when it came out, I did play, and I've had quite a bit of play with it. But I got to a certain stage and I was just like, man, I'm looking at all my quests here and I don't really know where to go. And then I was like, I sort of walked for an hour to try and find this place or something. It didn't really give you any direction. You just that's the thing with some of the quests. I got stuck. There was just like loads of quests saying it's near this mountain with a tree, and you're like, this is like a 400.
Yeah,
it's like a 400-mile square area. You want me to just walk around in case I kind of randomly happen across the person on this quest? And it's like, Jesus.
It was like Oblivion. Like Oblivion, if you turn into a vampire, and I loved Oblivion. Skyrim, I have 1 hour playtime, and I bought it on release day. That's it.
Well,
it's boring.
It was like I spent an hour trekking to this high mountain. I followed this river, and I had the directions, and I worked out where I was going, and being me as well, I don't run between place to place. I kind of will ride there, and I sort of try to sort of play it out in an RPG way because that's me, and same way that I played Journey.
You don't want to fast travel, is it?
No, I would if it was a really extreme distance, but for the most part I try not to.
Yeah.
People fighting in my street, whatever. You get that that 1 a.m. around here.
Don't worry. Seriously, I got hit over the head with a bottle like 2-3 weeks ago.
Nice. That's really great. This is why you shouldn't go out.
This is why I stay in and play video games.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I travelled all the way to this mountain, and then these big 3 things killed me. I was just like,
wasted time.
Hour of time. Yeah, it was wasted time, and I just thought, oh, F this, seriously. I just turned it off, So that's why I kind of struggled to get back into it. But that's what I mean. For example, okay, Grand Theft Auto. How much replay value does Grand Theft Auto have just from you driving around blowing things up and sort of shooting at stuff, baiting police and sort of seeing how pissed off you can make them by shooting their cars, so much that you can do once you've completed the game. LA Noire, not so much.
LA Noire, well, GTA, I say not so much just for the fact of, there's so much there, but your mind doesn't want to do it because with the amount of time you play GTA, once you get to the end, the last thing on your mind is to drive around the town and do nothing. You know what I mean?
And I would often kind of do fun things. I would kind of explore, and I would try and sort of balance helicopters on stuff, and generally sort of screw around.
I'll do free roam online, and that's enjoyable. But LA Noire, horrible.
Yeah, you see, this is the point. Was LA Noire? I found that the whole point of having it in an open world environment didn't really matter. It was a weird game. I loved it. It was really, really good. Like, the story was great, and the execution of it was good, and the puzzle solving element was fantastic. I loved that part of it. But placing it in an open world environment seemed to be almost irrelevant. I just didn't get it. You could drive around and do the little missions, but the map was huge, like really, really big. But you couldn't do anything. You couldn't. It sounds stupid, but you couldn't kill people.
I know. They basically pushed you to the next mission, as in there's no point even of looking around. Get a car. Wow, it's great. Thank you.
And some of the buildings were open, and it kind of pissed me off because there was loads of buildings beautifully designed, like some of the city hall buildings and stuff, amazingly designed inside. Look, you go in, like the floors like glass, and the ceiling things and all these sorts of stuff, and it's all amazingly lit. And I think there's like some mission where you go to the archive office, isn't there, and you have to like find something in the archives. And
and you jump like on the chandelier.
Yeah, but before you get to that part, you have to like find the stuff in the archives, and it's you think about just that one moment, and you have to look through all the books, and you have to find the stuff in the records, and you look at the environment, and it's like everything's really beautifully designed, drawn, rendered, made up. And you're only in there for like 3 minutes, and then that's it. That's the only time that you really need to go in there for the game. And it just kind of annoys me a little bit that they have had to create and render so much amazing environment for such trivial moments. I guess that shows dedication to level of detail and all the rest of it. But I kind of feel like I want to go there more. I want more to do. They did like 5 DLC missions for it. I got them all, did them all, and I want more. And it's kind of, there's so much more they could do with that game and didn't, and it irritates me because the environment is brilliant. Sick. I'm so sick of, futuristic, 20th century stuff, blowing things up with AK machine guns and stuff. Everything nowadays is a variation on an FPS, and it kind of, I said on my first journey video, I said, think how many games have guns in. Even games which you wouldn't think of, you think about it and go, oh yeah, actually they do have guns. Every bloody game has got guns. And whilst I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because it does encourage action and all the rest of it, I don't always want that. I want something I can get my head in and think about and do well.
Yeah.
But that has a good narrative at the same time. And
I guess you have to kind of compare it to movies, as in, do you really kind of want every single day to watch an action movie every single time? And they usually more often not have the same, just say, explosions and action scenes. Basically, you shooting a gun, blowing up a building, blah blah blah. I like RPGs. They're action, but they're also personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just gonna see whether Brudo's online.
Who? I don't know who that is.
No, I know you don't. He might not be around. Actually, he's probably way too busy. Bugger it, whatever. Anyway, he's a guy. He's he runs my clan with me. He's a good person for opinion based on things. Yeah, he's a good guy. Been playing with him for like 6 years now, 5 years, something like that. Anyway, but he's a good chap. Scottish bloke. Yeah, he's good. Not sure why that's relevant.
Scottish. It's life.
No, he's good guy. Same as Noz, who I play with as well. He's really awesome. Anyway.
Jeez, just shout out names here. Make me feel like a fucking loser. I'm like, I play with.
Yeah. I'm building up a
Hit
good little
Squad.
squad at the moment.
I play with Hit Squad, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm building up a good. Well, my clan's got like a lot of people, but we spent ages building it up and things. It's not always a good thing to have a lot of people, but I think it works. But yeah, I'm building up a good squad at the moment. I've got Noz, who I play with all the time, and then from my server, I played with quite a lot of people recently, and there's a Norwegian guy, Andreas, and he's a really good player. Really, just kind of gets on with it, and he knows what to do. So he's really good. He's joined up and joined my squad. So I've got 3 main guys, and then Martin, who I play with, and Akbar, who's in my clan, who I play with. So yeah, I've got quite a strong squad at the moment, and everyone kind of knows what they're doing and just gets on with it, which is exactly what you want. And this is what me and Noz wanted for our squad. We said we want people that we don't need to communicate with, so you can shout out, there's a guy in that building, first floor on the right, and people go, yep, take note of that. Yeah. But we don't need to do the constant communication of, you need to change engineer, why have you got that specialization, blah blah blah. We don't need to do that. People, this is what I say about in-game. If you're actually good at the game, you don't need to tell that stuff, because they're already aware of it. So it's like, I'll say to Noz, like, there's a guy coming down that right road, he's like, I know, I'm already on the way. Stuff like that, that's what you want for a good squad, and that's what I'm pushing towards with our squad. So it's really good.
Yeah. Basically, players that have their head, when they play the game, they have their head on their shoulders and they know what they're doing. So
there's so many games, like Colin, one of his videos recently, it was a great video, and he was saying about how an amazing thing happened was that he plays public games, and for the first time in about a month he got a public game, and his squad were actively changing their squad specializations to make sure that they kept different ones and they kept relevant ones without him or anyone having to say it. And he was like, this is a miracle. And it's like, it is. So many games I'm in, double up or triple up. What the
of squad ammo and stuff. Yeah.
I actually kicked 2 guys out of one of my games, and I got a bit of abuse in the comments for it the other day. It was 3 or 4 videos back. It was after my one where I kicked the entire team. But I removed 2 guys because, and it was like I said in game, I told them about 15 times in a row on the mic. I said, guys, change it, or I'm going to remove you. Change it, or I'm going to remove you. And one of the guys in my squad, he changed it up. The other 2 guys didn't. So I was like, right, you're out. So I just kicked him out of the game. It's like bullshit, seriously. There was like 3 of them on Grand Bazaar had extra explosives, and I was like, Christ, seriously. So frustrating. The worst part of it was they died a couple of times, so they had the opportunity to change it out and just didn't.
When you said it, yeah.
So
I don't know, man. I just think people like I not on the verge of quitting, but just like breaks. I love breaks from YouTube because I can think about what I'm going to do next. What show should I do? But I get absolutely fed up seeing these people spam my subbox with like what's new, basically like it's more trend. It's I guess YouTube is like television where they're trying to keep up with the trends and whatever is coming next, but it's never really what people want, and it just kind of annoys me.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've said from day one that that's not what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to try either. With my stuff, I do what I want to do, and people can watch it or not, and that's what I've said all along. I know that there's going to be people watching this right now who like watching my content, whatever I'm going to do, and they like it because they know that I'm going to have a certain thought process and I'm going to choose things based on that. And there's other YouTubers that I watch for exactly the same reason. There's a guy, David for YT or whatever his name is. Doesn't matter because he makes good stuff. And I watch his videos, and he has loads of all different stuff. He had like a Half-Life playthrough. He had some classic F-Zero X action and stuff like this. Just with him like chatting randomly over the top of it, and it was so much fun and so enjoyable. The Minecraft series and things like this. And so that's kind of how it is with mine. It'll just literally. I haven't done another Riven episode for a while, not because I don't want to, but just because I've been doing other stuff. But I will get back to that, and I will complete it. So it's things like that, really. Same as like I haven't done one of these for a little while, but I do want to. It's just a matter of fitting it in and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, you have a lot of things going on. You can't really just be like, oh, here's like I've no time, but I'm going to just throw it at you. You know what I mean? It's not really like that.
Well, some people don't have the patience to stay, and if you don't post a video every day, some people will unsub you because you don't post a video every day.
Yep, I lost 4 subscribers in the past 2 days, and I haven't posted anything.
Well, it's like, no offense, piss off. Like, if you don't have the level of patience, or if you have, if your expectation is that they are there to entertain you and they're your like entertainment slaves, and if you don't keep up with their expectations, then I actually have people like this post on my video and they say, you've fallen short of my expectations of you. It's piss off, seriously. I don't even know what to say to that. It's so stupid. But here we go. Looks like some good movies soon on ITV4. There's definitely some Dirty Harry I saw right there. It was Escape from New York tonight. I missed that.
What are you saying?
Happy birthday!
Alright, my girlfriend was
You better go, man.
No, she just woke up. She said, go back to bed. Go back to bed. Please. She's gone. Bed now.
You should go, man. It's pretty late, actually. I need to get off as well.
I don't mind. It's no problem.
I'm really tired. I want to go to bed.
I'm going to talk forever. Even when you stop, I'll talk.
That's it. I can just leave you chatting away. Anyway, okay. I am going to wrap this up. But let's do another one soon. It's been good tonight.